Hello, investors and traders, and welcome to the weekly market report. I'm AJ Monty, and I'm starting off with the CBOE Market Volatility Index, ticker symbol VIX. The reason I'm starting off with this one is because we have some conflicting signals that I'd like to discuss with you so you know how to move forward next week as we approach the week after election week. Still, no outcome of this election. It just may drag on, and then again, it may not. But the volatility index is going to be a good gauge for fear because it's also known as the fear index. As I zoom in here, you'll see that I left my lines on the chart from last week's report where I said that there would be an 80% chance that this gap would fill. I did not think that this gap would fill so quickly, but it did, and I identified that for you. Now look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red candles in a row. And as we're looking at these red candles, guess what? We are right at a key support level down here. So as I erase these lines, I'm going to draw the forecast for what I think the VIX is going to do. Now keep in mind, the volatility index is inversely related to the S&P. So I do believe that that support level will hold. And the reason I say that is because if you look down at the bottom of the chart, right there as I magnify that, the CCI is moving from a downward direction and it's starting to hinge sideways. So that's usually a sign that the downward momentum is starting to shift, and we're long overdue for a green candle. So I think the VIX will start to move up, and my forecast is that we will move up to test that 20-period moving average right there at 30.56. Now, for those of you who trade the VIX, that's a pretty big move, and I do think that we could see that happen. Now, as I flip to the SPY, remember, VIX is inversely related, you would think that that is going to be bearish. And short term, I think we're going to pull back because we're at a resistance level. Now, this was the forecast that I put out. I would encourage each and every one of you to go back to last week's report and listen to it again. It's a short video, but this will help you build your confidence in the technical signals. If you recall, I made a 2-day forecast. I said Monday and Tuesday that we would go up. We hit that target with no problem. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we continued higher. So now that we hit that target, I'm going to release those lines and draw some new ones. This right here is what we have to keep an eye on. That is a resistance high that is drawn from October 12th. So what do I think is going to happen? Well, notice very closely we have a doji right there. That's a very small body, almost no body candle. And while Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we had higher lows, higher highs, Friday closed with a lower high, lower low. That's known as a pivot point. There's a gap down here below the market, so I think we could see a moderate pullback to fill that gap, and then we'll have to see whether or not we bounce as the gap reverses the trend and holds as a support level. Again, as the market's going up, we see a drop in volume. CCI, right there as I magnify that, it's actually a sell signal right there. Let me go to the IWM. This is the Russell 2000 ETF. Again, we hit our targets quite easily on this. I said we would go up to fill the gap. We did that, and we gapped up in the process. Look at that. So we hit that target Monday and Tuesday, and now what are we faced with? Well, we have another red candle after a long stretch of green with dropping volume on the way up. Dropping volume is a sign that the buyers are losing momentum. Now keep an eye on this because we are currently trading over this resistance high right here, but we're now faced with this resistance high right around 170. So what's happening? Volume is dropping as we're hitting or approaching that resistance, and the oscillators are starting to turn. Now often I will talk about negative divergences. What is that? Well, right here you see the CCI and the stochastics were both overbought on this high area right here. Notice we have a higher high on the price with gaps below the market, but we have lower highs on the CCI. That's the negative divergence. If I zoom in one more notch, you'll see we're very close to a sell signal right there. So my forecast for the IWM is going to be a lower price level, probably moving back towards this gap fill area. The price there, if you need that, for the Russell, 158.59. I think we could hit that by November 11th. Now, if we look at the Qs, QQQ, what is that? Well, that represents the tech sector. We're seeing the same thing, same story. We're hitting resistance right here. We hit my forecast on the 2-day. I said we could go a little bit lower. We did that on Monday. Then we hit my target on Tuesday. So there's the forecast out of the way right there. We had support down at the very low here, hold. That was great. But now we're reaching a resistance area. Again, same story, very similar to what we looked at already in the Russell on dropping volume. See that? Now, interestingly enough, we set a higher high. Let me zoom in just a little bit. A slight higher high, but we have a lower low than on Thursday. That's known as a half signal. Not quite a pivot point, but it's a half signal. And we see that the CCI is starting to hinge lower while the stochastics is at this extremely overbought condition right here. So what does that mean for the Qs? Just like the other markets, I think we could pull back to that 20-period moving average. I think this gap right here will fill, officially fill, and then we have another gap that we have to deal with. But this moving average right here, the 20-period moving average, is most likely going to act as a support level. So keep an eye on that. Let's take a look at the diamonds. Ticker symbol DIA. What do we have here? Look at that red candle. That's known as a bearish harami. It's when you have a small body candle falling within the previous green body. We are right at a key resistance area, and as you can see from my forecast last week, we not only hit that target to fill the gap, but we blew right through it. So let me draw your lines for risk management purposes right there. If you're thinking about shorting the diamonds, remember that that resistance, once broken, could result in a rally up to the next resistance area right there. So you have to be very careful at it if you decide to short the market. But we have, again, a lower low, lower high. That's a pivot point on lower volume after a long stretch of green. I refer to this as the stale green light. Again, 6, count them, 6 green candles in a row. Now we have the red show up. Chances are we're going to have another red show up. Look at the CCI starting to hinge lower. The stochastics right here overbought, not yet turning, but I think that will quickly turn once we start moving to the lower level. So the diamond target right there is 278.21. Again, I think that will hit by November 11th, right there. 278.21, November 11th. Now, I'd like to ask you a big favor. If you like this video and you're watching it on YouTube, please hit the like button. Why is that important? Well, I want to make sure everyone's getting this information. It's very valuable information, especially for those looking to manage risk. And the more you like it, the algorithm will pick that up and start throwing it into search engines. That's how YouTube works. If you like it, get your friends to like it, share it, then we're going to start getting the word out. And it actually helps with these signals. If you are helping generate or confirm the signals and people see a sell signal versus a buy signal, guess what? The audience and the investor community are going to react to that. And it's only going to drive that signal to be more accurate. So we all benefit by that. There's nothing to do with market manipulation, has everything to do with reacting to the flow of money and the change of momentum as we hit resistance and support levels. So again, please like, please share, and please, if you like to get notified, hit that little bell. It's a notification bell, and you will be able to get that alert after you've subscribed to the channel. You'll get that alert delivered as soon as I post it. I try to get that out on Friday evenings so that people have a good long time over the weekend to digest the information and get themselves ready for the following week. So enjoy this weekend. Have a great time with your family. We'll talk to you soon. So long.